All right, everybody. Here it is. It's that time. That time to welcome our next guest. And that guest just happens to be the one, the only, Shondrella Avery. Welcome to Totally Driven Radio.
Hi, thank you
How
so
you
much. I'm great, babe. How are you?
Good. You know, it's funny. Like, when I got approached to do this interview, I can't believe it's been 10 years since Napoleon Dynamite.
I mean, me either. It just happened so fast. We looked up and we were at a celebration. It truly, really kind of got by us really fast.
Yeah, it's scary. Like, 10 years is supposed to take a lot longer than that, isn't it?
I would think so. You know, I said that to a group of friends of mine that, you know, were also very perplexed. And, you know, they're like, are you sure it's 10 years? I'm like, I know. It just feels like yesterday. It truly does. But I think when something is alive the whole time, you still feel like it's present, like it was that day.
Right.
And I say alive because it's truly been something that hasn't gone out of style. It's totally been in session since the beginning, if that makes any kind of weird sense. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah, absolutely.
It's still been present. Yeah, it's on all the time. You know, people see you and they feel like they, you know, like it just came out. But, I mean, like, it has never died down. So that's probably why it feels like it hasn't been 10 years, because it literally has been current for 10 years.
Right. Yeah,
Which
I
is
know for myself.
already.
But I know for myself, like if I'm walking through like a store, like a Target or something like that, and they got like their section of DVDs, and it's always like in the front of the racks, and you just look at it and you like take for granted, like you know, it just happened, and you'll see other movies that say you know, that's from the 70s, that's from the 80s, but when I look at that, I still think of it like you said, like as of yesterday.
Right. I think it's because we haven't allowed it to really simmer. You know, I think that's what the fans have done, and that's how blessed the project is. It truly is. I said this to Jared Hess, and, you know, we're all, you know, they're all Mormons, and, you know, it's such a blessed project to begin with. You know, God is all involved in the whole transaction, and it's clear because whenever he gives something, it never really goes out of style. It still feels like it's present, and it moves very quickly. And I know this to be true in my personal life. And so I think that, you know, because they were all such giving, loving people and God-fearing people on the outset, it just has continued to stay very present and on people's minds. I've never worked on a project where it's something that is still so prevalent as though I just did this yesterday. And when we were all together just last week, you know, it was so exciting to just be where we were like 10 years ago, and the feeling was exactly the same, like, oh, my God. You know, we were still so elated to be with each other, to hug each other and just connect with each other, and it just hasn't simmered. That's the love of the fans, man. I mean, you know, when it's blessed, it's just blessed. And you got to know that this is definitely blessed because it truly skipped by us like it was 10 minutes ago.
Right. No, you said you guys got together, and that was for, you know, like the 10-year anniversary and that statue presentation. Now, have you kept in touch with, like, some of the cast, or has it been like the 10 years and then all of a sudden all you guys are together saying the same thing to yourselves?
Actually, we've kept in, the commemorative statue of Napoleon, John Heater himself, of Napoleon Dynamite, was probably the most awe-jarring moment of my life. I mean, who would have ever thought that could happen, and who would have ever thought that it could have happened for this film, and just by virtue of who we all are and, you know, the up-and-comers of that time. And, you know, we've all kept in contact. I hadn't seen John, well, we've all seen each other in 10 years, but we hadn't seen each other prevalently. I hadn't seen John, maybe Jared, but I have seen Efren and Haley, and I hadn't seen Tina in about 4 or 5 years. I see Grandma all the time, Sandy, John Grice. So we've actually kept in contact email-wise and texting throughout the 10 years succinctly. We've definitely done that in terms of physically seeing one another. John and Jared are probably the two that I hadn't seen in a while, and actually Kip, my guy, Aaron as well, just because of the nature of our lifestyles. But we've all kept in contact with each other throughout the years via email and texting. And so that's been really comforting because it really was a family put together in love, and Jared really knew what he wanted, and he knew the people he wanted, and he really chose a group of really loving people, and we still love each other to this day, like nothing ever happened. It's like, yeah, it's really awesome. It's pretty cool.
You know, it's funny, too, like when I saw the pictures and the statue and all, I was thinking to myself, like, you know, there's not really many, I guess, movies where there's like a statue made. I mean, we're out here, we're based in Philly, so, you know, we have the Rocky statue. But you don't think of many other prevalent movies or big movie blockbusters that have a statue. But now it's like you think, like, okay, there's a Napoleon Dynamite statue and a Rocky statue.
Yeah, that is, I mean, I cried. I literally, and I mean, even now, it just in tearing, you know, it's so humbling. You know, you just, I mean, I can't describe, you know, unless you've been in that position before, you know, I have to compose myself because it was so, you know, it was just so emotionally driven. I mean, just to think of someone and a group of people, an organization of people, a country of people, a world of people loving this type of film where a studio says, yeah, you know what, not the state, not the town, but the studio, you know, can get behind a film and say, yeah, we have to acknowledge that this thing is pretty spectacular. You know, like we've kind of got to acknowledge that. And how best can we acknowledge, you know, the greatest thing that's ever happened to our studio? In terms of DVD sales, I mean, we have sold more than any of their blockbuster movies in the history of 20th Century Fox. Like, where do you go with that? Like, how can you do anything other than give a statue? I'm like, my mouth was like, shut up, really? Like, everybody has this DVD. Like, man, I'm telling you, I just can't. I mean, I've stopped on the street and people have their, you know, they send it to me in the mail, and you know, it's never gone out of style. I'm telling you, like 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, and I'm like, you guys were just infants and babies, so it's your mom and dad. You know, people's grandparents have turned their kids on, and their kids have turned their kids onto it in just 10 years. Honestly, man, I'm telling you, this is the absolute best blessing I can tell you to date in my career. You know, my friend Forrest Whitaker, who is my mentor and someone I revere and look up to, and he said to me, like in 2005, he said, you know, Shondrella, if you just get one cult classic in your career, like you're doing something, like you've done it. And I'm like, really? And he prophetically knew in 2005, like, this would be it for me. And I was like, wow, I hope you're right. You know, I just like, that'd be cool. Like, and I had just literally, you know, got in 2003. I did the movie in 2004, and here he was saying this in 2005. And here we are now in 2014, and we have a statue. Please. Like, if you don't tell me that's not God, I don't know.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, it's one of them rare magical things, like where you have like that low budget movie that all of a sudden becomes that classic or that cult classic, and you were able to be part of that magic.
Magic. It's truly magical. And you know, I tell people a lot when I do interviews, especially when I speak at different, you know, schools and career days for young people that are really aspiring and just in general in life. You know, you don't take parts for just, you know, how much you're saying. There are no small parts. There's only small actors, you know. And I was an extra before I ever spoke on camera. And I was a very good extra. You know, I believe that every aspect of that particular set, every entity is as important as the people who are speaking. Because if not, why would they make those things irrelevant? Why would they make them relevant? Why would you be an extra if you were not as important? Because you're not talking doesn't mean you're not important. You're busy. You need to be as equally involved in telling a story without saying anything as the people who are speaking. And there are times that you may even overshadow them. And I, at 6 feet, I surely overshadow a lot of people. And a lot of people remember me. There's an episode of Larag Den on Living Single with Queen Latifah back in the day. And I was in an episode, and I remember one of my my pastor's daughter, she saw me maybe about 2 months ago. It came on, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, Chandrella!" She was like, "Were you on the Living Single?" And like, there was like a bin, and you were like pulling out clothes, and I was like, "Yep, that was me." And she was like, "Oh my God, I told my mom and dad that was you." And I thought, here this TV show is rerunning maybe some 15 years ago. Yeah, before I even was in the business, I was still working a job while doing extra work to try to get my union card. And that episode still airs, and people recognize me for that. And I was as proud as ever to do that. So there are no small parts. There's only small actors. So this particular film didn't have much to say, but she was saying a lot, and she was very pivotal, you know. And we had a thing, there was a time we had silent pictures where you really had to pay attention to what they were saying by looking at them, by watching them, and then you can hear them. And today we've lost sight of that because so much comedies are doing so much talking. They got so many fart jokes and all this other nonsense that really isn't as important as just listening to what they're saying from their hearts. And so with Kip and LaFonda, I mean, I have one scene where I'm really communicating. Everything else is really, I'm talking to him from my eyes and my expression, my body language, you know. And people, they heard us. They understood what we were saying. The footsies underneath the table, they got it. You know, it's not what you think it is by talking a lot. Chandrella talks a lot. LaFonda didn't talk much. But
right.
She said a whole lot, you know. So I encourage people out there, you know, that are really trying to take parts and thinking about them. Don't take parts because, you know, whatever the dialogue is. You take quality work. Quality over quantity beats it all the time. The quantity will eventually come. It's part of the job we're in. You'll begin to rack up all kinds of parts and roles. But if you take quality material, then that quality will beget more quality and beget more quality. And then you'll have a Bible worth of information and storytelling projects that really exemplify what type of talent that you want to say. And so I really give God the glory because this film really told the type of character and the type of roles that I would want to play henceforth. And I have received, I may have 5 or 7 really great projects, but they're all awesome. I don't have any rubbish where I'm not ashamed to talk about, you know, I don't want to talk about that character. I did that. No, every role I've taken is specific to that time, to the intention, to the story of what I want to tell and the trajectory of my career. And so Napoleon Dynamite really shaped and helped to define that. Nobody can just give me garbage. And when they do, I'm okay with saying no. I'm like, have you seen this work? And now we have a statue. You better get out of my face, baby. We got a statue. You better bring me some quality work, quality comedies.
You know, it's funny you say this, though, because I'm a big Howard Stern fan, and he was just talking yesterday. I forget who it was about, but he was just talking because he said, like, you know, people will call up and say about an actor or actress that he has on the show, and they'll try to rag on them and say, like, you know, they did some junk work or they did a horrible movie. And he was like, you know, you got to understand, like, there's not so many parts. There's more and more actors and actresses every day coming out, and parts are getting harder and harder to get. So sometimes people, they got to survive, and they got to take work to keep get a job.
Yeah, that's true. That's an excellent statement. And, you know, I really have to say, you know, I was always afraid of that. First of all, I was always afraid of being typecast just by the nature of my height, my body, my, you know, just anything. You know, I just didn't want, and I really worked. I mean, I went to performing arts high school. I went to school for theater. I'm really a thespian, and I really just was praying. I always prayed that, you know, Lord, don't ever let me get desperate, you know, where I would just run into having to take. But I have found, and this is just for Chandrella, I can't speak for anyone else, but just for me, you know, I'm okay with, you know, I have a husband, and I'm very blessed, you know, and my husband's not in the business, and, you know, so, you know, things can still keep moving, you know, but I've been very fortunate that on the outset of my career, that all the things that I really prayed that I would get, that it would be of quality, of something that would sustain. What I didn't know, and this is the real important part, I didn't know that all the jobs, all the films that I've had thus far were aligned with really big stars, that people love those bigger stars, and they they buy those movies or they rent them all the time, and we get residuals from that. And so I've been very fortunate that I've received, a lifestyle of residuals that keep things moving. No, it's not like you're working all the time, and sure, it's not the same big payday, but it's money, and if you can still, and I tell people, be a part of something that, if I'm in 2 movies with Denzel Washington, I mean, I love Denzel Washington, so I'm going to rent it every time I see him, or I'm going to watch it, and networks will watch it, and they'll continue to rent Deja Vu or Domino, with Keira Knightley and Christopher Walken, and you'll see these films, and you'll be like, oh, man, that's cool, or Secret Life of Bees. I mean, who doesn't love Queen Latifah or Alicia Keys and Jennifer Hudson? Now Jennifer Hudson is an Oscar winner. So this film continues to grow and, circulate, and I continue to get paid from that. So although I may not be prime in the film, I'm a part of the package. And so the blessing is that I haven't had to succumb to, and trust me, there are moments when I do want to work more. And everybody says, I want to see you more in this film. And I want to see, me too. You don't think I want to see myself more in it? And it's going to come. Trust me. Continue to know that it's going to come. But in the meantime, in between time, what else are you doing? If we only, and I, again, I'm very blessed. I'm not going to act like, oh, well, I'm out here scrapping. No. God has been very kind to me. I have, all the films have paid handsomely. All my TV shows, there are residuals. I have 3 TV shows I've done. 2 of them pay residuals because they're always on some network, Nickelodeon. They're all 5 seasons syndicated. So they're showing somewhere around the world, and we get paid for it. So it has just been, and I keep a lifestyle where, it's modicum. And I don't overstep. I have a great family. I have wonderful siblings, and we all stick together, and I've been great. When I'm working, everybody gets blessed. When I'm not, they all make sure they take care of me, So it's not, along with my husband, who I'm very blessed to have, but I don't have the desire in my spirit, honestly, Dave, where I have to say, oh, I'm working, and feel like, I'm on. No, I'm always on. It's your mentality. You have to know, whenever you turn on that TV, there's a chance between all 1,000 of these channels, guess what? Shondrella Avery is going to be on something. You better believe that. I'm on something right now. So it's your attitude about it, where you mostly like, oh, yeah, I'm doing this movie. You see people like, what you up to? What's going on with you? Well, I'm doing charity work today. What are you doing? Oh, yeah, I just finished this, or I'm about to do this. Okay, great. Do we always have to report what we're doing when we see each other? But most people feel that their intention or their purpose in life is to show somebody that they're on. But you're doing garbage work. You're doing garbage work. So, if that makes you happy, awesome. You got to feed your family. I don't begrudge you. I just don't have to have that. Those are not the choices for me. And so I just thank God that I haven't been in that desperate place, and I pray I never am, because it is a tough space, and I do have friends, and they've had to do things, and they don't want to do them, and they have children, and they have a big family, and they have to take care of them. And you know what? You got to just do that, because this is the type of work we have. It's cyclical. It's up, it's down, it's highs and lows. Sometimes you have a hit. You don't know what's going to be a hit. If anybody could have told me 10 years ago Napoleon Dynamite was going to be what it is today, and we give a statue, I'd be like, really? I don't think so. I would, and guess what? Everybody in that movie would be like, okay, all right, settle down already. No, but if you stand still and just stand still, and that's what we can't do as talent. We're so busy trying to impress. If we get the victory over public opinion, oh man, then we would see the silver lining. But we are so busy trying to impress people. But if you just do great work, if you do quality work, it'll be impressive enough. And the hint is this Napoleon Dynamite. I can't impress you with, I've just done a film that, that just hit. I mean, I just did End of Watch, in 2012. And, it was awesome. I worked with Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena. It was fantastic. My first real dramatic role. And I'm super duper proud of that. And yet mostly people want to talk about Napoleon Dynamite. And I'm all right to talk about that. And that's all right with me, So it's what the people want, And I just know when they catch up to End of Watch, it'll be, oh, my God, I can't believe, you did that movie and you were awesome. I'm like, I know, you loved me in one and you hated me in the other. What? That's what I did. But until we get to that point, I'm still talking about Napoleon Dynamite, lovingly and gratefully to do it, truthfully.
That's awesome. Yeah, it does surprise me, though, that, like, some people will not accept something like that to where, you know, they're most known for, and they try to, like, brush it under the carpet. And, you know, I understand it could be, like, frustrating at times because you have another body of work that you're proud of, and it's just not getting the recognition, and people want to talk about the one thing, and then, yeah. So when people like you, like, are excited by it, it's so much fun.
Thank you, because you know, and this is what I always tell my peers, like, really, guys, come on. When you were doing that thing, you were in it. Like, let's not try to act like you wasn't caught up in it when you were doing it 10 years ago. Like, you were just as dedicated. You know, you were right there. You were grateful, right? You know, the problem with us, we don't have a good remembrance, even though we're supposed to remember for a living. I mean, I remember for a living. That's my job, and I remember it for a living, and I remember in my personal life. I am grateful. If God does nothing else, just keep my mind in the remembering. You know, you remember, you forgot when you were desperate and you needed that blessing, or that you were hoping and praying for something awesome to come along, and then it comes along. Okay, now 10 years fast forward or 15 years fast forward, now you're on to something new. Okay, but did you forget that when you were there at that moment, that was what you wanted and you got that thing? And now you're so wrapped up in this new thing that other thing becomes insignificant. Shame on you. And I tell people, shame on you. The nerve of you to have the audacity to think that you want to be dismissive about that blessing because you're on to something new. This thing will catch up to you when it needs to catch up to you. Yeah, but in the meantime, anybody that wants to talk about anything in your career, yeah, that's still right as an interviewer. If you're a journalist or, you know, whatever it is, and you want to talk about that, whatever Shondrella Avery's done, that's your right, because I put that work out. And I should have the right to speak about it lovingly and grateful, because if not, then, you know, excuse my expression, but you crap on, you know, every director, every writer, every peer that you work with. You know, oh, we didn't get along, so I don't want to talk about that. Okay, that's stupid. So you didn't get along, so therefore the project is insignificant? Come on now. You needed that money at that time. You needed that celebrity at that time. Whatever that thing offered you, you needed it at that time. Otherwise, why would you do it? And if you didn't do it for any other reason but just to get a check, then you're not thinking about the bigger picture when that one person or that one fan loves that one project. And now you've lost sight of that, and that fan doesn't want to like you anymore, and you're like, oh, well, I don't need that person anymore because I've got like 10 other billion people loving me. That's terrible. The gift is that people love us for the work that we put out, and we should be grateful for that at all times. You know, we should really, because this thing is very special to be chosen to play pretend in this imaginary world on screen, on TV, where you can turn on the TV and put your name in and your work pops up. What?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Like, this is the technology where we are, where I turned on the TV. The first time my sister told me that, I was like, oh, my God. I turned on the TV and I punched your name in and stuff came up. I was like, shut your mouth. She was like, yes. And we were screaming like I had just got in the business.
Well, here's a funny one for you. Here's a funny one, because whenever I get ready to do these interviews, you know, naturally you go to Google, and you got to Google the person to get information and make up your questions and all. So you had one of the funny things, which was actually on my question list. Have you ever Googled yourself, first of all?
No, I will not lie. I haven't. My siblings have. I haven't. They've shown me what it is, and they've kind of given me. My little brother, I have a 19-year-old brother who just kind of Googled me last week when we were at my mom's house, and you know, I don't, because I didn't even know that was possible. I mean, I don't have the time to. I have the time. I have the time. I just haven't, because I feel like, what am I going to see? I don't know. But what did you find? What did you see?
Well, it comes up. It's like the second or third thing that comes up when you put your name up there. Shondrella Avery feet.
Hilarious. My feet.
People are searching your feet.
Oh, is that because of what from Napoleon Dynamite when Jared pans up my feet? If that's it, that's crazy.
It's got to be it. Yes.
Oh, my. Well, first of all, I told Jared, I'm like, had I known, okay, first of all, my toes at the time were making a right turn and a left turn, okay? So everyone knows that, well, my private life, I was an athlete in junior high school. I ran track and played basketball and whatnot. And my feet, I had hammer toes. This is for real. And I inherited them from my father. How would I have known that? So anyway, I got them corrected, okay, because I didn't want to just have a size 11 and then hammer toes. But in the time when Jared did the pan-up shot from the bus, I said, well, Jared, you could have let me know you were going to do that, because then I would have chosen a pair of shoes that wasn't making my toes so obvious that they were making the right turn and the left turn. So he laughed so hard. He was like, I just had to get the whole look of it. I'm like, yeah, clearly. So, listen, I'm not ashamed of any part of my body. I mean, my body is my body. My booty, all of it is together. I have a real behind. It's my real buttocks. Most people write me letters and they want to know, is the booty real? Of course it's real. Okay, I was before the Kardashian. I was right around when J-Lo came out, okay, and I didn't have quite, it wasn't as voluptuous as it was now 10 years ago, but it definitely is being consistent, and it is a real behind. That is a trivia question that people want to know. Yes, I am all woman, and it is all mine. I'm a black girl from South Central. We come with booties. So it's hereditary. My mama has it, I have it.
Well, there's another name out there, too, that you got to throw out there, is Beyonce, because you were compared to her back in, what was it, 07?
Yeah. Oh, my God, isn't that awesome? What kind of compliment was that? Oh, my God. When my publicist called, it was like, OMG, Shondrella, you're in the tabloids. I was like, shut up. He was like, yeah, you and Beyonce. I was like, what? But first of all, yes, booty is real. Her booty is real. And we were on because we wore an H&M dress. And, you know, here's the thing. I gather it was really a big highlight for me because, you know, she got wore best, and I was like, well, that's subjective. I mean, she is Beyonce. I get it. But I think I kind of rocked it just about as cute as her. And I didn't have on those stockings, if I can remember. I think she wore some leggings. See, I was showing all my bare legs because I have great legs. Just thought I'd add that in there. And it was really a tall compliment because, you know, who wouldn't want to be compared to Beyonce? Whether you lose or win, you're still, like, in the category of a winner. And I'm a winner. Right. So when you know you're a winner and you're kicking it with another winner, like, you're both winners. And so it was and I ended up meeting her, I would say maybe shortly thereabout, right after that, at a screening of a film. It was her and Kerry Washington, a lot shorter than me, of course, but she was gracious. And I told her, I was like, we were in the tub. She said, girl, I saw that. She was very gracious because her sister, in fact, played one of the, she was a character on One-on-One, which was a show that I was on at first. She played with Kyla Pratt in, school thing, Solange, when she was, right before she ended up having her baby, she was on the television show called One-on-One, which was a show that I was on. So I had a chance to meet Beyonce, and she was very, very lovely, yes. And so that was one of my high moments, of course, for my H&M dress, because I wear clothes all over. I don't judge. You know, yes, they have some fantastic designers, but I think you can find a piece or two everywhere you go. And it just so happened that Beyonce ended up wearing an H&M dress like me.
Now, you started out as a stand-up comic?
I did, yeah. I was a stand-up comic. Like I said, I went to school for theater, and so I always did a lot of comedic plays. And, you know, I really didn't think I was a comic. I'll be honest with you. I'm a thespian, and most thespians are just that. But at the time, you know, my mom said I was very goofy growing up, still goofy actually. And I come from a big family, had to, you know, make peace with these kids, and, you know, it was just a gaggle. It was like a gang of them. It was like a whole tribe. And so I would always have to do different routines and acts to kind of keep them really quiet. So I grew up kind of goofy funny, but my mom always thought I was very funny. My mom and actually my father, they're really the comics. I mean, my mom is so ridiculously funny, it's painful. But she has shy problems. She's very shy, so she has stage fright, so she could never do it. And my father also, very funny. He doesn't even know he's funny. He's like dry humor funny. So I think I know I got it inherently from the both of them. But at the time, my boyfriend in college, who now became my husband, he used to always think I was very, very funny. He's African. And I was like, what do you know? I mean, like, really, you're African. Like, really, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, are you catching up to what's happening in this conversation? And, he'd always be like, you're very, very funny. I don't know if you know that you're funny. I'm like, I don't know if you know what funny is, but we're going to work through this and see if we can get down this aisle because, listen, I'm so tall, and I just want to make sure that somebody loves me no matter what. And you seem like a really smart guy, and I really want a smart guy I'm going to be with. And so he was pressing me, between he and my mom, and I couldn't get representation. Honestly, it was like, the way the business is designed is very peculiar, to say the very least. They would say you have to have credit to get representation. But how do you get the credit? Well, you need representation so the way they can send you out, so the way you can garner credits. But you couldn't get any credits because I had no representation, and then so I had to start looking in the papers and literally trying to find ways to work. And so stand-up thing for my boyfriend was like, stand-up comedy, they don't judge about anybody. You can go, you can get on stage, you can do your thing, everybody will love you, you'll be fine, it's safe. I was like, yeah, that's true. And I literally went and just started doing stand-up. Then I didn't like that whole situation because it's 3 minutes and that's it. So you would stand online like all day for 3 minutes? I'm like, oh, no. I first of all, to say Shondrella is 3 minutes, let alone Shondrella Avery. So we can't add in the Avery. We go just do the Shondrella. When I say, hi, how y'all doing, how was your day, that's 3 minutes for me because I'm a talker. So I didn't like that whole philosophy, so I decided to run my own comedy club. Now all of a sudden I'm a stand-up comic, and I'm going to run clubs, and I've run 4 clubs around Hollywood and Pasadena, Altadena, and Beverly Hills. So the way I can talk as long as I want to talk, open up the show. My mom brought all her L.A. friends, and then my sister in college would take the money out the door. My boyfriend was a DJ. We ran comedy clubs. And so I did that because I was a business person, and I knew that my mom was never going to drive from the city she was living in all the way to the inner city. She lived out in the suburbs, all the way into the inner city to watch me for 3 minutes, and because she would complain and somebody was going to get cursed out. So it was never going to happen. So we had to start running clubs so I could stay on stage and talk for 30 and 40 minutes like she wanted me to, because my mother loved to hear me talk. And so I ended up, oddly enough, and this was really the blessing. As much as I may have thought about snubbing my nose up to stand up, because I was like, I'm a thespian. I mean, I went to school for theater. I want to be an actor. I'm not a stand-up comic. But I was really good at it, and it was a talent I had, and that is where the job started to come. I literally booked 2 guest starring roles on Jamie Foxx, from one of the executive producers, Benny Richburg, who was in the audience and saw me and thought I was hysterically funny. And he gave me a job. No audition, just got a part. And I was on a show called For Your Love with Yvette Lee Bowser, who was executive producer. She put me on the show, no audition, because I was funny. And then I booked 2 TV shows, one-on-one, that I auditioned for Candy, that particular character that was written for me by Unetta Boone and Flex Alexander. And then I did Girls Behaving Badly. The executive producers came up to the show. Chelsea Handler had just booked the show, and they were looking for a black girl. And she was like, well, you've got to pick my black best friend because she's really funny. And they came to the Comedy Store and watched me do stand-up and gave me the job that next morning. It was, like, done. So all of my roles literally came from stand-up. Something I never envisioned. And here I was like, if I had known that, I would have come straight out of high school straight to do stand-up because it would have cut out about, actually I couldn't have because my parents were like, you need a proper education. You have to go to school just in case things don't go your way. You still want to make sure you have an education. So if I had really known that stand-up was going to be a blessing in the way that it was, I probably would have done it earlier on because I did it for a very long period of time, and I got most of my great jobs I got from doing stand-up, and I'm returning to stand-up now.
Nice.
I think I'm still funny. People still think I am. They tell it to me all the time, and it's something that's, now it's easier to do. Before it's a hustle and bustle, and girls shouldn't, it's a tough world out there, man. You're up all night, you're in the clubs, a gang of guys, and you're up, you're talking crap. It's 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. I actually ran clubs because I had a corporate job. So I was doing corporate by day and running comedy clubs by night, only because I can get in and get out and be at work in the morning at 8 a.m. So I didn't have the time to be at the comedy clubs, like every other comic at 11 and 12, because I was at work in the morning, and I was an executive, and I needed to be sharp. So I would run these clubs, and we would do it until like 10 o'clock. And we'd be done. 10:30, I'd be home. I'm able to go to bed and wake up in the morning and be fresh to make my earn a living that kept me able to do it, not necessarily looking to make money, but all my rooms became workout spots for some of the famous comics, Chris Spencer, Chris Tucker, Chris Rock, Tony Rock, Royale Watkins, people that people love today, stand-ups, they all use my rooms as workout rooms. Cat Williams was one of my dearest friends, Rodney Perry. Like, all these guys used to come to my class.
Don't you think, like, the way you did that, don't you think it should be done like that anyway? Like, see, I really feel, I mean, in the way it is, especially as I'm getting older and, being a husband and a father, you can't get out to the clubs when the shows are starting at 10, 11 o'clock because you have to take care of your family. You got work the next day, like you're saying. And don't you think it would be better if it was done at that earlier time, and it'd be better turnouts, it'd be better for everybody?
Yes, it would be. Yes, I do think. And I'm not sure, my friend Kira Sotanovich, she does clubs, and, we were on the show Girls Bathing Valley together, and, even now she does spots that are like, earlier, 10,
right.
Even Kim Whitley, who's on the television show, and Kim Coles, they have a Tuesday night spot, Kim and Kim, and they're done by 10:30. People come out because the average person, you're not getting like teenagers coming, you're getting a matured audience,
Right.
And they need to get in, they have children, no one's considering that. I don't understand what this old, paradigm or this mentality about, clubs starting at, unless it's a Friday, Saturday night, I get it. You want 2 shows, you get 8, you get 10, I get it, and you're done. But I'm not waiting till 1 o'clock, for some big celebrity to show up. And, like, no one's doing that. First of all, it's done. We get it. Get here early, and so we can get on home. I don't want to wait on you till 1 o'clock in the morning. We're not 19 anymore. It's disrespectful, and so even when I'm out, and they're like, oh, no, such and such is coming. Well, such and such is going to miss Shondrella Avery. How about that? Because if they're not having them behind here on time, I'm not sitting here waiting all night for you to come in and make this special appearance and your stuff. And then now we're all giggled out.
Right.
We've already had 2 drinks. We don't need you to try to hustle 2 more drinks out of us because I'm not a drinker anyway, so it's Coke after Coke after Coke. Now I'm sugared up all night. Now I'm really laughing disingenuously that I'm here, and I may have a good time, but then I'm home at 2:30, and I sat for like freaking 4 hours and my booty hurt. Like, no, get out of here. Get your behind here early so we can get out and you can actually get the accolades and the regard that you really need when we're fresh. But no one wants to be out this late at night when we're all family people. It's just disregarding. So, it should be like that.
I agree. It's frustrating.
Yeah, and I don't go to clubs unless it is. Yeah, no. We're not old. We are seasoned. First of all, there's a certain way, because you're only as old as what you allow yourself to be. I'm so grateful I'm not 19 anymore, just because I know now what I felt. And at 19, I have the same energy. I mean, I still think I'm very energetic and I'm pumped up and I'm animated and my life is still awesome. And I think it's just a matter of personal choices and what we won't tolerate anymore. And that doesn't make you older. It just says that you've been through a whole lot of experiences and you know what works best for you. And that's what maturity comes into play. If you're still hitting the clubs and you're like 35 to 45 and you're hitting those clubs, I mean like nightclubs where you're out and you're like almost a daddy or a granddaddy in some instances, some people, and you're hanging with my brother who's like 21 and 22, chances are you need to get your butt at home. Like that is not, it's not even cute any longer because you should have, there's a season for everything. And when that season was on and you didn't get the memo that this is the time that you're supposed to rank in all nightclub, hey, party, get it in, then what were you doing? So I think that there has to, and I'm not saying you never can go to the nightclub. I mean, I still, get my groove on, and I hit a spot, too, and, dance it up in the middle of the night, and that's fun, too. But it's just because I just feel like it, not because I feel like I missed something. And that's the problem with people. We speed up our lives in the very beginning, and so when you do that, you've missed some things, and now you're partying with your kids, yeah, because that's happening too. A lot of parents partying with their kids because they were kids when they had the kids, and now the kids have grown up, and you still think you're a kid because you're trying to refresh that life.
Right.
Okay, that doesn't necessarily. I'm not laying in judgment. I'm just saying there was a season for that. There was a season for that, and you still are living in that season. Now you got the Cougars and the Rugers and all these other people. And I don't mind women dating younger men, but there's a season for that also, because the references and the wisdom. Yeah, you can date a guy and he's going to love you and he's 15 years junior, but truthfully, that's in a different generation. They're doing something different, and you may be able to hang, but at some point in time, that's when your age is going to show. They're going to know then that you're older when that person does something that says, okay, I did that already, and that is over. So I just think that we should be cognizant of how much of intermingling that we're doing with different generations. I mean, my youngest brother is 19, and I'm still cool with him, and he's still cool with me, and we're two totally different worlds apart. But the only reason why is because he's very mature, and I'm still goofy. But let's not be unclear. There's still some things that I don't know. Like somebody said, they'll say guys will try to flirt with me on the Twitter, and he's very involved with checking to see what's happening. And some of the expressions that they say today at 19 years old is not the same expression that we knew back in the day. It could be the same words that they use, but it means totally something different. And it'll be like a kiss on your neck, but that doesn't mean a neck kissing. It means something else vulgar. And I'm like, what? Like, it's shocking, these boys in the language. But you know what it is? It's the rap songs. Because the boys are so clever, they come up with these new expressions to use the same throwback words that you're just like, this is just trifling. What is this kind of nonsense? So that's what lets me know we're in two different not that I'm old and you young. It's just that you guys are doing some sloppy seconds and you guys are taking what we used to, and y'all are materializing into some garbage. That means that y'all are silly. Y'all not using your brains to think of something more creative. How about that?
Right.
I'll find a way to twist it where I still end up winning the conversation.
Oh, that's funny. Now, so you're also involved in a ton of different children's causes and charities and.
Yeah. Thanks, Bae. I believe, I believe in giving back. It's what my mom has taught us. Growing up, we used to be the kids. I'm from South Central. We used to be the kids that my godparents used to come to our home every month, and they would collect up all the clothes, and they would take them downtown to Fred Jordan and some of the other centers. And my mom has been doing that, for 40-plus years. And just the idea of giving back is part of the nature of how you receive. The more you give, literally, the more you receive from God. And that's just a given. It makes you happier. You feel blessed that whatever you're blessed with, that you can offer it to someone else. It just is the way that you get yourself out of. My pastor always says, you can give yourself out of depression. You can give yourself out of poverty. You can give yourself out of, any trials and tribulations that you're going through, because the more you give, the more God is going to give you. And so it's been a part of my life, my entire life. My mom has simple rules. Even now, ironically, I just came from Michigan, and she has this thing where she tells a lot of her friends, and I have two adopted little siblings, two girls, and they're 8 and 11, and or 9 and 11 now. One just turned 9 and 11, and she's taught them that all the hotels I've spent, wherever my kids send me, she'll collect up all the the soaps and lotions and shampoo in the rooms. And she brings them home, and my two little sisters, they have to bag them up and take them to the local shelter for the people, the homeless women or men, so they can smell good also. And they've been doing this since they were 5 and 4. I guess when they were both 5 and 4. before my other sister turned 6, my mother started to implement this when they were children. So now they know every year, several times a year, how many ever we collect up. And so I, too, because it's the simplest thing. My mom is like, you guys can give at all times. People make it seem like they can't give. I'm not talking about just the people on the side of the road. You have to find other ways to be purposeful. So we just came back from Detroit. I went to Detroit, and I gathered up in the hotel room all the soaps and lotions, and I gave my mom like 2 big bags. I was like, all right, Mom, here are my bags. She's like, thanks. It's like, oh, this is good. You collected up a lot of good ones. Did you call the front desk and ask them to come back and give you some more? They have enough. They have it. And literally, she has made Ziploc bags of these for these little shelters all over where she is. And so it's that simple task that I've expressed to people, and I've said this in interviews a lot, because that's the easiest thing you can do in terms of giving. You can give Ziploc bags of candy. You can give Ziploc bags of chips. You can do whatever you can do in your space. You can give. And so growing up, giving our clothes, my mom would make us clean out all our closets, and we would be blessed to get new clothes. And so every time she felt that, listen, that's it. Once a month, we got to pick out some things, and there's some of your favorite things, too. You can give that away. For all your good stuff and think you want to give away things you don't want anymore. No, I want you to give things that you still want to keep, that somebody else may like and enjoy when they're wearing it. That type of thing. It's teaching children. So we were taught that growing up. And so as an adult, I knew the moment, my career kicked up, I wanted to go back to South Central, first and foremost, to make sure that the children, whatever my publicist can find, the center could know that, you can come from this community, and no matter what they say about it, you can succeed. You just have to make smart choices. Sure. And so a place called Home is a place that I started. Now it's my 10th year, and I started out there with their program called Be Girls. Initially, it was called Be Girls when we first started. It's now called Girl Power, and it was with Dr. Theon Gordon, who ran the center at the time. Now it's Jay-Z. We call him Jay-Z, Jonathan Zeichner. And he, both of the two people who were the directors, I really felt that this would be an opportunity for me to mentor young girls. And so the program is a bunch of teen girls from 13 to, I think, 18, right before they graduate from high school. And I went in as a guest speaker. Hey, I'm from South Central. I just want you to know you can make it. You don't have to be a statistic. No, you don't have to have children at 13 and 14, 15, 16. No, you don't have to let the local tomboy tell you he's going to be with you, and next thing you know, you're out there doing something inappropriate. You can make it. And so I started out doing that, and it's been 10 years later. I run I do the luncheon. I host a luncheon every year. It's my 8th year. I just did it last month in May. And I still mentor the girls every single summer. And I'm there it started, Central is no longer all blacks. It's a lot of Latinos now. And it started out all blacks and maybe a few Latinos. And now it's all Latinos and maybe a few blacks. And so even that has continued because just because you're of a different race, you have the same story. The story is still relevant and it's prevalent for anyone who has ears.
Sure.
So, you can help and encourage young people. So that is really something I'm very passionate about. Make a Dream Foundation, another organization. I'm all about, having a dream. Babe, if you just dreamt, the dream I'm living or the dream I had, I'm living it. This is not a joke. I always wanted to be a star in my mind. Like, I'm just going to grow up and be a big star. Now, what that star meant at 8, 9, and 10, I don't think I knew that. But I was really, really passionate about wanting to tell stories and being expressive and, being in front of people and making people laugh and cry and hope and dream and think. And so I'm living the dream I dreamt as a child. And so I really encourage people, especially in all people, it's not just children, but all people can still dream. If you're alive, you can have a dream. And if you have a dream, God can make it come to fruition. It doesn't matter how old you are. And today we can see so many people changing their careers and starting over again at 60 and still working at 70 and not retiring till they're 80. And look at Maya Angelou, who just passed away. She was still dreaming at 80 plus. We limit ourselves because we think there is a season on dreaming. But I'm here to tell you there is no season ending. There's no season beginning on dreaming. You always can dream. You always can dream. And that dream can always come to fruition. It's how much faith do you have behind the dream you're dreaming. And so Make a Dream Foundation is another organization that I do. I come and I support, and there are children from all over the world, Africa and otherwise, that I give my funds to help them continue to prosper in their dreams. And that's important to me. Sickle Cell Disease Foundation is one that's near and dear to my heart. I have a pair of siblings that passed away of sickle cell. And my one brother who lived, he was 17, tomorrow is in fact his birthday. And my mom has sickle cell disease. And that's a disease. And today is Sickle Cell World Day. And I'm so grateful to have this conversation with you because we need to break the silence. And I literally just tweeted that. Someone had tweeted to me, and I retweeted it. And we have to break the silence on sickle cell. The color is orange. We've got to promote orange. September is Sickle Cell Month. And I'm a part of a chapter. I'm part of Sickle Cell Disease Foundation of California. And that particular chapter was co-founded 7 years ago by my brother's pediatrician, believe it or not, unbeknownst to me. This is how God would just put people together. I had no idea. I told my publicist, I need to be a part of Sickle Cell. Find me the chapter. He went to Sickle Cell of America. They said they had Lorenz Tate and Jada Pinkett and Will Smith and some other people and said, you know what, why don't she go to the one that's local, to the one in California, because she's in California. They was like, oh, okay, great. So I went over to California, and lo and behold, I go to the office, and there's a picture on the wall of the camp, Crescent Moon. And who do I see in the picture is my brother. Discovered at that moment that my brother, this was the camp and the location. I told my mom, oh, my God. My mom was like, yes, that's the chapter. I thought I was trying to tell them something. And my mom was like, oh, my God, did you not know? I said, Mommy, I had no idea. God just led me from the Sickle Cell of America saying go to the Sickle Cell of California. That particular chapter is the longest chapter in all of sickle cell branches. We have the longest camp. It's the 46th year. And my brother went to that particular camp 10 of the 17 years he was alive. Wow. And so I am so proud to be I'm a board member. I know where all the funds are appropriated. I'm so passionate, man. We have worked so tirelessly. I partnered up with friends of mine. They're called Mixed Chicks. The two girls that are Mixed Chicks, Kim Etheridge and Wendy Libby. And they blessed me last year. I asked them, I said, ladies, we need a sponsor. We have no one is taking a stand with sickle cell. They was like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, we don't have a big celebrity. I mean, I'm there, but no one is bigger than me that's even talking about this. And then we don't have no one that's like hair care product, no food product. No one wants to stand up. And they were like, well, Shondrella, this is ridiculous. And we are on board. Whatever, they love me and I love them. And in 1 month, last November, we did, which is Give Back Month. In November, when I came to them in September, which was Sickle Cell Month, they said, what can we do? What can we do? We scrambled, put together in 2 weeks' time, right before the month of November. We tweeted, begged everybody, just go and buy the leave-in conditioner, one item, on the website of mixedchicks.com. And all the proceeds, 10%, all the proceeds from $1 of all the bottles would go to Sickle Cell, the chapter, which is my chapter. $1 from the leave-in conditioner. We raised $13,300 and something, I think $48.71, literally in 1 month, worth of 2 weeks worth of press. And, I mean, amazing. If we can do, and we had never had a sponsor. Mixed Chicks was the first one in some 30-plus years. Ridiculous.
That
How
is
would
crazy.
we have known? Just, isn't that, I mean, it was an amazing blessing, but the girls were like, what? I'm like, and they were like, we need to do more. We can do more. We can make more money. We only had 2 weeks' worth of time. We really didn't push it enough. I'm like, for us, do you know how many kids are going to go to camp? It's a free camp for children to come for an entire week, and we provide everything. There's doctors that volunteer their services from UCLA, Cedar-Sinai. It's a miracle week. And I know this to be true because my brother went there, and it's where all these other sickle cell children can come, and they can be cohesive together. There's no teasing, no taunting. They're all with their peers. It's beautiful. And what I do is every year for my birthday, which is in April, I come around and I have my friends. One year, Shannon Elizabeth, my very dearest friend, Shannon Elizabeth, she did a birthday party for me, and I said, listen, all I want, I collect teddy bears because I'm a teddy bear junkie. And I said, I just want everyone, I know because I told you I'm a kid. I'm a big kid, I'm goofy, and all my teddy bears, my husband had given all my teddy bears to Hurricane Katrina when it happened. We were on a TV show. I came home, he bagged up I had like maybe 200 teddy bears. He bagged them up all, and he put all my headshots in every one of them. And he was like, I'm just going to send these out. I was like, you think you want to run that by me first? Because I just gave like a gang of money on set with all my peers, my castmates. We gave like a lot of money. He was like, oh, really? He said, that's so nice. He said, that was for the group, for the cast. But you need to give all these people are going to love these teddy bears when you get them. And he saved like maybe 5. And he said, we'll start you a new collection. I was like, honey, that's why you're going to go to heaven. Thanks, I appreciate that on my teddy bears because you didn't have any teddy bears. So long story short, I had Shannon Elizabeth have all my friends bring teddy bears for my birthday. And we took them all up to the camp. And so we collected all these teddy bears up. Ever since then, every year I do something for my birthday, and it'll be attributed to the camp. And so one teenage girlfriend of mine, her name is Danae, she actually is 14, and she did teddy bears as well, and she gave teddy bears to the camp. So I'm encouraging people to give with the purpose, and find a way to make yourself be whole internally by just helping children. And this disease, it's not fun. You know, it's painful and it's torturous. They give you the example. I mean, and my brother, and sister, may God rest her soul, my mom is still alive. She's the longest living woman in her family with sickle cell. Yeah, and it hasn't plagued her over the years. And we thank God for that because she's so purposeful. She has so many things yet still to do. We know that's why she's still alive and well. But it's not an easy disease to live with. We have no preventative methods. We have not enough preventative care because no one's talking about it. No one cares about sickle cell, but we should care because it's no different than any other type of disease. People are born with this. No one wants this. They're not inviting this into their lives. I've had children tell me in the hospital that they'd rather have AIDS than sickle cell because at least with AIDS, people are helping them. Can you imagine? I'm like, what? It hurts. Listen, it's debilitating the way they think. They just want someone to care. And so I have made it my mission. And I mean, of all the things I lend my name to, and I don't lend them to many, it's all about helping the youth. Our youth is our future. We don't get these youth together. We don't encourage them and provide them the wisdom that we've hopefully attained in our lives. That's why it's important that we make sure that where we are in our life, that we've acquired the wisdom and the things that are necessary to be able to pass down something. Because if not, then what are you doing? We're going to be perpetuating a colony of people that are not progressive, that are not purposeful, that are not intentional. And we need to do that. Shame on us that we are so physically fully able-bodied. I don't have the disease, so I'm able to fight the fight. Yeah, my brother lost his life to it. My sister was very tiny. She was an infant, passed away, so she didn't even have a life. But I don't have a problem with standing up. I'm very confrontational when it comes to people not wanting to do more, especially in my business. We're very blessed. We have a lot of blessings. We have radio shows. We have talk shows. We have all these opportunities, tweeting, Facebooking. We have ways to help and stand for something. When people are laying in the hospital, they can barely work. I mean, I thank God my brother, left when he left because his life was not going to be necessarily as grand as what it could have been because he was ill from day one. He managed to suffer through 17 years, with the greatest spirit and the greatest attitude. And honestly, if you ever meet a sickle cell child, their attitude will make you get your attitude together. Because if they have to have the type of pain, like fire underneath their feet, they tell you, it's like just imagine someone pinching you and then lighting you on fire from the bottom of your toes all the way to the top of your head and pinching you like exactly like a tiny pinch. That pain is through the entire body all day long when a crisis happens. And you're in the hospital, and they don't know how to prevent that. There's no medicine. There's nothing to help calm that down. And this is 2014. That is embarrassing.
Totally agree.
Right? Okay, so today is Sickle Cell World Day, and I would like for people to support the causes that we all should stand for, and that's just about helping those who cannot help themselves. And let's be clear, this is no longer a black disease. Many black men are sleeping with non-black women, and there are women that are in the Puerto Rican community, Armenian community that have rare blood types that are connecting with the sickle cell trait in black men that don't know that they have the trait. And they're having sickle cell children. And I know this because I did Sickle Cell World Day last year, and I was the host of the symposium. I moderated the symposium for them. There were people from all over New York, and they were coming saying, we didn't even know we had the trait. We didn't even know we had a rare disease. We didn't even know that this blood type was this and that we commingled and it created a diseased baby. Well, because no one's being tested. All you have to do is just go. When you go to the doctor, you say, hey, I just want to get sickle cell, I just want to get a trait, a test, to see if, in fact, I have the trait. Because if you have the trait and you mirror it with someone else that has the trait, there is a chance that you will have a sickle cell baby. So these are just simple things that no one discusses. Not that difficult, but we're ashamed as black people. We are ashamed. We're embarrassed and we're ashamed, and that's ignorant. There's no reason to be ashamed of whatever God has put on us. If he put it there, if it happened, then you have to deal with how can you stand up to it. And he will help you along the way. And I can speak to that wholeheartedly because my mother is living with the disease, and she is fabulous. Let me let you know that. So, you just have to take whatever you got and make it work for you and be an example for other people to not be embarrassed or ashamed. And that's what's wrong with us as people in general. We get the victory. If we get the victory over public opinion all together, whether it be good or bad, then we might be all right, I think.
Well, you are an example of a totally driven person. You really are.
Well, thank you. I guess that's a thank you. I don't know.
Is there anything else you're currently working on that you wanted to promote?
Yeah. I'm doing a project right now with Macy Gray, who's a great friend of mine that we met on a film called Domino in 2005. We've been besties ever since. We're doing a variety show called Gray and Avery. And excited about that. I'm doing some producing behind the scenes. The business is called show business. And I think we sometimes we lose sight of the business aspect and only look at the show. Yeah, sometimes the show, people want to be so showy that they don't take proper precautions for the business end. So I am producing some things behind. I'm producing a play that I'm actually doing this Sunday, co-producing a play, I should say, a one-woman show for a young lady, Steve King, who is Mama Was a Bad, Shut Your Mouth. She's doing her one-woman show now. And, it's a wonderful telling of a journey of a young lady and the story of her mom, and it has all the elements of comedy and drama, and I'm always fascinated with theater, as I told you earlier, as a thespian. So this is a stage play, and SHONDRELLA Sunday is actually this Sunday, June 22nd. So I flew back in so we can take care of that business. So I'm producing things behind the scenes, things that help promote other talent to get to that place of where I am and even higher, and so those are things that I'm doing. Also, you can go to my website at crownblue.com, and you can see all of the events that have transpired and all the upcoming things I have that's relating to sickle cell. I just did an event May 10th for the camp that it's got coming up this month. You can also, too, go to our website at www.scdfc.org, Sickle Cell Disease Foundation, California.org, and make a donation. The camp is coming up. You can see the history of it. You can see all the work we're doing for our chapter in California. Like I said, we're the longest chapter in all of sickle cell history. We're maintaining, and it's really by the grace of God because they get volunteers donating money. So we do have a lot of wonderful, blessed people that are sending funds our way, but we need more. We need more help, and we can help more families throughout the inner city and all throughout, now throughout the United States. We don't just help just the people in California. We have Mary Brown as our president, and she actually is the longest human being, I should say, involved in sickle cell history, past 50 years, and she's like maybe only 60 herself. I don't know how. She's like literally been doing this since she was in high school, and it's incredible, the blessing. So she is the Bible of sickle cell for all of sickle cell throughout the United States. And she's at every conference, and she knows everything about it. And she's our president. So that's what keeps us alive and keeps us going, is history and knowing how this disease truly plagues people. So I'm very, very proud of Ms. Brown for that. And you all can go and support and donate at any given time. And please follow me on Twitter. I'm at Shondrella. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook, SHONDRELLA AVERY. And look out for my new comedy business I'm about to jump off with. So my stand-up, you'll see all the updates on crownblue.com. And I'm just grateful you allowed me the time to talk, truly. And I want to thank all
I'm
the
trying to
people
figure
that
out when you
support
sleep,
my work.
though.
Hilarious. I don't sleep. I have insomnia. Oh, my God. You are so – that's probably like the best question or best statement someone has ever said, because no one has figured out that I really don't sleep. Like I interior decorate as well, so that's a whole other conversation for a whole other day. And event planning, and that's what I do, and it's all surrounded. Everything I do henceforth has some tag in. It's about purpose living. It's all, and you'll see that on my site. It's all purposeful giving, purposeful living, purposeful beauty. I've just signed up with a company called Arbonne, and they give a whole charity division, and that's awesome. So people get these cards, and they can order anything on, and 20% goes to my chapter. Everything is about purpose living, and I think if we focus on that, man, we'll feel completed, and it won't just be about our immediate family, our immediate wife and children. It won't just be about our immediate jobs or our immediate friends. If you find, and this is just for me, I find I am more complete as a human being if I have my hands in things that I know, and not that I'm forcing my way. God appoints me to do all the things that I'm doing, and he gives me the energy and the time and the wherewithal to do just that. And it doesn't feel like I'm running out of time. It doesn't feel like I'm wasteful in anything, because it's right where I'm supposed to be. So all you have to do is ask, what am I supposed to be doing? Because we're all supposed to be here having a purpose life. We're not here just because we're good looking, because we're funny, because we get on TV, or because you have a radio show. Hey, who's doing that? No. You have to be purposeful. You're doing this so my voice can get out there. That's purpose. Yeah? You've made a decision to do something that gives people an opportunity to share their words, to hopefully encourage someone that may be lost, that may be confused. Yeah? I always say the answers, and this is what I know to be true, and I can only tell you what I know. Can't tell you what anyone else has told me. I tell you what I know. The answers are in your prayers. That's a fact. So if you're praying, you will receive the answers. If you're not praying and you're leaning to your own understanding, which is your flesh, well, just see how far that's going to go. Because it's only you'll be frustrated. Well, you will, because you'll be irritated. You'll be confused. You'll be conflicted. The flesh is never supposed to give you nothing but just what it is, the exterior. It's not going to get you, it's not going to help you be better in your life. It's your spiritual walk. Then that's why people are like, I'm just trying to connect with my spirit. Well, the spirit is right there with you. God created us all. We're all created. We're all one entity in the end of the day. So I just think if we remember that your answers, they're deep down in your private time, your thinking time. It's in your prayers. Yeah. So I'm sending love to everyone. I'm humbled. It's a tearing. I've been crying and so happy and so grateful, so thankful. Yeah, the more you're thankful, the more you're grateful, the better you're going to feel, the whole of what you're going to feel. You'll be whole as a human being if you just exercise giving and gratitude.
Yep.
It's not difficult. It's not difficult. You can smile at somebody, and you just gave somebody hope for that moment. Like, oh, okay. Faith is key. We lose sight of our faith and dream. Just continue to dream the dream you want to dream. Don't let the age, don't let anybody discourage you. Yeah, don't think it's too late. Nothing is too late. Who gave you the timetable in your life? You don't know when the day or tomorrow. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. Today we're here, tomorrow we're gone. So while you're here, do something important today. Yeah. Be giving today. Be purposeful today. Love someone today. Tell somebody, I love you today. Because tomorrow you don't know if you or that person will be here. And that much I can tell you for a fact. I have seen it happen. But I never feel like, oh, wow, I didn't get a chance. I say, thank God I was able to say I love that person. Or, woo, good thing when that, that they say, I was just about to call. Some people come up to you, baby, and they're like, man, you've been on my mind. Well, if I was on your mind, then you should have called me. Because that was your moment to be important. No, really, because that was the sign that you were supposed to be used to help that person that day. Don't put it off. We put off to me, oh, I'm so busy. Man, I've been trying to text you. You can text me. It's not that difficult. Just say, hey, you're on my mind. That day you could have helped somebody at that moment. So it's purpose. That's all. And
you said a mouthful there. That's the absolute truth.
Thank you, babe. Thank you so much. I appreciate this time. Thank you.
This has been a lot of fun.
Me too. I appreciate that. Listen, I told you I can talk. I gave you an hour plus. Look at that.
And I taped with Larry Holmes the other day. He only talked for 15 minutes.
What?
Yeah.
The Larry Holmes?
The Larry Holmes.
15 minutes?
15 minutes, yeah. Well, as his wife said, as we were setting up the interview, she said he could talk for 2 hours, he could talk for 5 minutes. You never know with him. So I got 15 minutes, but I was happy and gracious with that.
Listen, you take what they can give you, and that is because that is the Larry Holmes. So, with all that wisdom, that's a 2-hour listen, he's got a 5-hour conversation. He's got, the more we know, the more we share, is what I always say. The more I know, the more I have to share, because I would have wanted to know what I know from somebody, like me when I was younger. Like, I just would have wanted, like, really? So you have to make, I would have wanted to know that. So I do think it's, we don't have these blessings by accident, So it's very important that we share, share and encourage, because I'm encouraged whenever someone is wanting to hear. It lets me know that I must be doing something right when people want to have a conversation with me. That's something important, because let me tell you something, you're going to get a conversation, and it's never going to be the same. I never speak the same way. I don't, because I don't know what you're going to ask, so I'm always in the moment. And today, this was this day to have this conversation with you about this subject matter, even though it may have started out, and it always is, about Napoleon Dynamite. There's so many other caveats to a conversation. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, and if you are a purpose-living person, then you're never going to be repetitive. Because this day presents new situations and conversations and circumstance. So I thank you so much, Dad. I really do.
Thank you.
And thank you. So I guess you can let the team know whenever it comes out and when it does, and I'll be ready to tweet it and Facebook it. All right, awesome.
It'll be out tonight, so I'll tweet you when it's coming out. And real quick before I let you go, though, can I just get you to cut a quick ID for me? Just, this is SHONDRELLA AVERY, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Hey, everyone, this is SHONDRELLA AVERY, and you are listening to Totally Driven Radio. Mwah. Thanks.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Let's do this again. This has been great.
I surely will want to do it again. I look forward to it. You were awesome, and I really appreciate it. Very calming spirit, truly. I mean, honestly, I know it's easy. You were very easy, but still definitive, and I like that. So I'm very, very, I'm very, very grateful. Very, very grateful. And I'd love to do it again. If you'll have me, I'll have you. All right?
The door is open.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.